from WSAV, the station that's on your side. You're watching News 3 Today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kim Busby.
And I'm Ben Katko. Thanks for joining us here on News 3 Today. I feel like we're 10 or 11 or 12 days in a row now of this gorgeous sunshine.
It is beautiful. Let's take a live look now from our Dozier Law Cam out over the ports of Savannah, and the sky is blue, the sun is shining. Kyle Dennis, what more can we ask for?
Oh, it is spectacular out here this morning, Kim. You know, I've been talking about the beautiful weather all morning, so I had to get outside and experience it for myself. Couldn't wait another 30 minutes until after the show. We've got the sunshine out here in Daffin Park. We're just across the street from WSAV Studios on Victory Drive. But it does come at a cost, all of this nice weather. I know Kim always says I always have a but there really is a but. We'll talk about that in a second. First, let's talk about where we're at right now. Starting off this morning, 76 degrees already in Savannah. Many of us now, in fact, we're in the 70s almost across the board. The only exception, Alma, you guys are at 80 degrees. 75 in Darien, 73 in Hilton Head. So here's the issue. We've been dry now for quite a bit of time. We've picked up about 8 1/3 inches of rain so far this year, but we should be near 14 inches by now. That gives us a deficit of about 5.5 inches or more so far for this year. So what does that mean? We are in a moderate drought now. Now, at one point, we were in a severe drought, but a couple of weeks ago on that Monday, we had a very rainy Monday. That helped us a little bit. Severe drought still for part of our area. There is a little bit of wet weather in the 7-day forecast, not a whole lot, and we certainly won't see it today with high temperatures well into the 80s. A summer preview on the way. So Ben and Kim, coming up in just a few minutes, I will join you inside for the full forecast. And I told you I was going to get out here one of these days. I think next time we got to all go to the beach. How does it sound?
That works for us, Kyle. Thank you very much. We start this morning with international news making headlines in just the last few hours this morning.
President Trump announced on Twitter that 3 Americans held prisoner in North Korea have been freed and are now on their way back home. Kim Dong-chul, Kim Hak-song, and Kim Sang-duk were freed during Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's visit to North Korea and meeting with leader Kim Jong-un. The 3 detainees were held in North Korea for months under accusations of hostile acts or espionage against the North Korean regime. President Trump tweeted that he will be there to greet them when they land.
A South Carolina school trip takes an unexpected detour. The kids were taken to a gun show, and some parents weren't too pleased. Michael Higdon reports.
Allowing 5th graders to see what they were in store for next school year.
The permission slip states it'll be the 5th grade kids attendance tour at the middle school, and the tour will consist of allowing for the kids to see the different classes, to see how the school is.
Belinda Geis is a substitute teacher in Dorchester District 4, and she and her son went on the trip to see St. George Middle. After spending time here at the middle school and touring the facilities, everyone thought they were headed back to the elementary school, but that wasn't the case. Instead, they took a detour and ended up here. You're taking a look at a facility owned by a St. George man, a man the teacher of the 5th graders knew.
Miss Riley stated that her uncle owned the armory and she was going to go get her cousin to talk to the kids about, you know, the tank and everything.
Outside the front is an armored combat vehicle that I'm told has been gutted.
That part was fine, but once you take my son along with a lot of other kids onto the other side of the building and start a gun show, that's where my concern came in.
That's when Geis took these pictures, the students being shown different types of guns, and Geis says none of the parents had given permission.
When we got done with that show, my son said, "Mom, I need a 22 caliber.
Something Geis says her 11-year-old son should not be thinking about.
You took away my right. You took away all these other kids' parents' right to wait. Allow for me to tell you if I want my son to be introduced to this type of stuff."
Geis says she tried to speak to teachers and principals, but she has yet to get a response.
One South Carolina lawmaker is proposing more oversight for the state solicitor's offices after records show one solicitor misusing funds. Representative Michael Pitts, chair of the Law Enforcement Subcommittee, put a condition in the state's budget that would require all 16 solicitors to have a budget audit. Pitt says the audits will allow the legislature to review how money is being spent in the solicitor's office and make sure state money is spent equally.
For us to create parity in how the different solicitors' offices are funded. Some are funded by several different revenue streams, some by limited revenue streams. So you have, in the case of many other things in the state, rich circuits and poor circuits.
Solicitors' offices are funded through both state and county money as well as private resources. The audits would be for all 16 circuits and would have to all be completed by December 1st.
New this morning, the Bullock County Sheriff's Office is investigating a highway crash between two semi-trucks. Two trucks were in an accident on the westbound side of I-16 around exit 114 about 8 o'clock this morning. The road is closed right now between exits 116 and 111. Traffic is being rerouted to Highway 46 through Candler County. Chatham County deputies are also helping with this investigation.
In a News 3 follow-up, it's been 1 week since the horrible crash of a National Guard cargo plane that killed 9 guardsmen from Puerto Rico. Now we're hearing the 911 tapes from witnesses. Almost every caller who said they saw the plane go down said it happened quickly. The 911 center received 15 calls at 11:27 a.m., just a minute or maybe even seconds after the crash happened.
It's right off the railroad track. Oh my God, it's on Highway 21. It crashed on Highway 21. I'm on 21. I'm passing on Jimmy DeLoach, and a military airplane just crashed head on the road. It is a big airplane.
Do you know if it's visible flames at all?
Yeah, I witnessed the whole thing. It was maybe like 5 miles in front of me. It was the closest thing I know to describe it. It was like watching 9/11. The same thing.
A catastrophic failure. That's what one Air Force crash investigator tells News 3 led to that deadly plane crash. The C-130 cargo plane nosedived onto Highway 21 shortly after leaving Savannah Hilton Head International Airport, headed for Tucson in its last flight before retirement. News 3 recently learned the cargo planes from Puerto Rico are the oldest in the fleet. This one was more than 40 years old and only in Savannah for routine maintenance. Attorney Randy Reeb has 30 years of experience in the military and 25 years in military aviation. He points out there are plenty of vintage planes flying that are well maintained and perfectly safe. Reeb says pilots go through emergency procedures, but they are not trained for losing control of the plane.
In continuing coverage this morning, the debate continues. Should the video of Ricky Boyd's shooting be released, and should the case be handed to federal investigators? The district attorney's office is now weighing in.
Any witness statements, any physical evidence, any recordings, any photographs, the autopsy report, all of that will be presented to the grand jury.
Heap says this case will be treated just like the past officer-involved shooting grand juries for Charles Smith in 2014 and Tyree Kyler in 2015. Only one of those had body cam footage. No officers were indicted in either case. Heap says she understands the family's concerns, but she has to follow the law, and that means not releasing any evidence until after the grand jury sees it.
It's my understanding that he is stating that he has evidence. Then I would say, great, bring it to me so we can present that to the grand jury. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You can't take one piece of evidence and just look at it because it's the totality of the circumstances. You take one piece and you don't have the information surrounding it and the explanation, it doesn't make sense. No one has the full file. No one knows who's been interviewed. No one knows all these statements. And it needs to happen in a court.
As for the request by the family's attorney, Will Claiborne, he has requested the U.S. Attorney's Office take over the case. By law, they don't have jurisdiction to do that. We called the U.S. Attorney's Office for some clarification, though we have not heard back yet. The grand jury will start hearing that case the week of May 21st.
We have been following the growing opioid crisis facing our country.
After the break, we have what you need to know to keep your family safe. Stay with us. You're watching WSAV News 3 Today.